we start with the next chapter, that is control and coordination. Now control and coordination in animals, it is mainly due to the nerve cells which we call the neurons. Now these nerve cells, when they come together, they form a system which is known as the nervous system. So the control and coordination is done by this nervous system and the hormonal system which is present in our body. The hormones, which are chemical substances, and these chemical substances, they are secreted by the endocrine glands which are known as the ductless glands. So control and coordination in animals, it is done with the help of the nervous system and the hormonal system. Now this nervous system and hormonal system, when it works in the body, it is due to our senses. We have got 5 sense organs, that is the eyes, the nose, the ears, the tongue and the skin. Now these sense organs, they produce stimuli, and because of this stimuli, we are sending stimuli to the nervous system, and the nervous system, it is sending back impulses so that we react to whatever stimuli we get because of these sense organs. Now these sense organs, they have got some cells together which are known as the receptors. Now these receptors in the cells, for example, the eyes have the receptor cells of light which are known as the photoreceptors. The nose, it has got the cells which are which can easily smell, and these smelling organs, smelling receptor cells, they are known as the olfactory receptors. The receptors of the ears, they can hear sound, and they are known as the phonoreceptors. The receptors of the tongue, they are known for their taste. We get taste because of the tongue, and the receptors there which give us taste are the gustatory receptors. And skin, it is sensitive to touch, and these are known as which give us feel, and these are known as the thermoreceptors, with the help of which we can find out the temperature, whether something is cold or whether something is hot. So therefore they are known as the thermoreceptors. So it is because of these sense organs that we get all the stimuli. Now we are sensitive to this stimuli, and these messages which we are getting from, because our body is getting messages because of these sense organs. Now when the messages are sent to the brain and the spinal cord, with the help of these electrical impulses, the sensory nerves carry these electrical impulses to the brain and the spinal cord. As soon as the brain and the spinal cord, it gets this stimuli, they send back the impulses with the help of the motor nerves, and we respond with the help of the effectors, because the receptors were the sense organs and the effectors are the muscles or the glands. Means if we are feeling hot, if something is hot and we have touched it, so that the receptor is our skin which has got the sensation of that hotness, and the effector nerves, that is we are pulling back our head, means our muscles are the effector. So muscles are the effectors on which the brain has sent, brain or the spinal cord, it has sent the motor nerves to tell us that you have to take back your hand. So that is the effector are our muscles or their glands which undergo secretion. So this is how these are known as the reflex action and the reflex arm. So what is reflex action? It is the action which takes place automatically. Automatically means as soon as our hand is going to something hot, it will come back instantly. So this is not voluntary, it is involuntary, which is taking place in our body automatically. So it is not under the control of the brain. So how are these reflex action working? When we touch a hot plate, what happens? Our thermoreceptors are there in our skin. They find that it is hot. These impulses, they are going, electrical impulses, they are carried with the help of the sensory neuron to the spinal cord. It may be the brain also. So it is carried to the spinal cord. This side spinal cord, it is sending the motor neurons, and the motor neurons are sending coming to the effectors, and these effectors are what? The muscles in our hand, and these effectors, because of these effectors are getting the sensation with the help of the motor neurons. So we pull our hand back. So this action is known as reflex action, which is involuntary or it is done automatically. So this is the pathway which is taken by the nerve impulse, and this pathway, it is known as the reflex arc. So what is the reflex arc? The pathway taken by the nerve impulses is known as the reflex arc, and this reflex arc, it is how it is moving from the receptor to the sensory neuron to the spinal cord. Spinal cord are sending motor neurons. Motor neurons have been sent to the effector, that is the muscles of our arm. So this is how the pathway has taken place. These impulses are sent from the body sense organ to the brain, and from the brain or the spinal cord again they are coming back to the effector. From the receptor to the brain, and from the brain to the effector. So this is the pathway how the nerve impulses are moving in our body. So this is called reflex action, or it is done with the help of a pathway that is known as the reflex arc. Okay. So this is how the nerve cells in our body, they are coming together to form a nervous system. You should be able to draw how the nerve cell is working. This is the nerve cell, this is the nerve body. This nerve body is attached to the dendrites, which are giving signals to the nerve body. This nerve body, cell body, it is containing the nucleus. This from the cell body, they are coming with the help of axon to the nerve ending, and this nerve ending they are going to the muscles, and this junction between the muscle and the nerve ending, it is known as the neuromuscular junction, and all the neurons they are attached end by end to each other with the help of a synapse, and this synapse it is a gap, means in the gap there are chemical impulses given, means electrical impulses are converted into chemicals. Again the chemicals in the gap, they are giving the same electrical impulses to the next neuron. So from one neuron to other neuron, the impulses are given with the help of a synapse. Synapse means it is a gap in which some chemicals are secreted. So this is how from nerve to nerve the impulses are taken in our body, from the sense organ to the brain, and from the brain to the different effector organs. So this is how the nerve cells are coming together to form the nervous system. Now the main part of the nervous system is the human brain. This human brain, it is protected with the help of the cranium or the skull. This is the bony box in which our brain is well protected. Now this well protected brain, it has got three coverings which is known as the menings. Now these three cell coverings, menings, in these menings there is a cerebrospinal fluid, and this cerebrospinal fluid, it is protecting us from shocks. So if by chance there are shocks, we have fallen down, so that shock it is absorbed by this cerebrospinal fluid which is present in the layers between the menings. So our brain, it has got a covering which is known as the cranium, or it is known as the skull, which is made up of bone, and therefore it is known as a bony box. Okay. Now this brain, it is broadly divided into three parts. One is the forebrain, the second is the midbrain, and the third is the hindbrain. So the brain is broadly divided into three parts: the forebrain, the midbrain, and the hindbrain. Now the forebrain, it is the thinking part, means our thinking, our memory, our intelligence all depends upon what? The forebrain, and this forebrain, it consists of the cerebrum. So this cerebrum, it is responsible for all the thinking and all the voluntary actions which we are taking. Voluntary means which our will, we are taking the actions, we are walking, we are running. So all these actions are voluntary, and these voluntary actions, they are done with the help of the forebrain. The midbrain, it does not have any distinction. This is the middle part, and it is known as the midbrain. And the hindbrain, it remember, it consists of three parts. One is the pons, which is responsible for the respiratory balances of the body. Second is the medulla. This medulla is responsible for all the involuntary actions. Involuntary actions means digestive system is digesting the food, all the peristaltic movements in the stomach, in the digestive system, they are taking with the help of involuntary, with the help of what? The medulla. So you need to know the function of the medulla, all the involuntary actions, breathing, the beating of the heart, the digestion of food, the peristaltic movements in the digestive system. All the working, it is taking place with the help of this medulla. And the third part is the cerebellum. This cerebellum, it is responsible for the posture and the balance of the body. Means our body is balanced when we are walking, when we are talking, when we are playing. All the body postures, they are balanced because of this cerebellum. So this cerebellum, it is responsible for posture and balance. So every part of the brain, it has got a specific function. So the brain is broadly divided into how many parts? Three parts. One is the forebrain, second is the midbrain, third is the hindbrain. The forebrain consists of what? The cerebrum, and this cerebrum, it is responsible for thinking, intelligence, our thoughts, our memories, everything which is responsible. This is the cerebrum that is responsible for thinking, and all the voluntary actions, whatever actions we are taking, we are running, we are walking, so all these they are voluntary actions, and these voluntary actions they are taking place with the help of the forebrain. Midbrain, it does not have any distinction, simply we call it the midbrain, and this midbrain it is responsible for the reflexive movement of the head, the neck, the trunk, means our body movements, the reflex action means we are coughing, we are sneezing, they are reflex action. So these reflex actions, our eye impulses, means if dark light is falling on our eyes, so our eyes will be blinking or we will close our eyes. So this is a reflex action. So all the reflex actions they will be done with the help of the midbrain. So reflex movements of the head, the neck, the trunk, the eye movements, all will be done with the help of the midbrain. The hindbrain, remember it consists of three parts. One is the pons, second is the medulla, third is the cerebellum. Pons is responsible for the respiratory impulses, respiratory tract. Then the medulla is responsible for all the involuntary actions like coughing or sneezing. And the cerebellum, it is responsible for, it is giving us posture and it is balancing our body. So this, in short, you need to know the structure of the brain. It is its division into three parts and the function of each part of the brain. So this is the main part, and this brain then follows after the cerebellum comes the spinal cord, and this spinal cord it is well protected in the vertebral column. So this spinal cord also has protection. It is also got three coverings, just as the brain has got three covering of menings. In the same way, this spinal cord also has got three covering of the menings. So it is well protected in a bony structure which is known as the vertebral column, and therefore we are called vertebrates. So this is the structure of the human brain. After the nervous system in the control and coordination, the second part which is working, it is the hormones. Now this hormone secretion in your body, what are hormones? They are chemical substances which are secreted by the specialized tissues in our body, and these specialized tissues they are called what? Endocrine glands. Now these endocrine glands they are secreting all the particular hormones in our body for balancing all the working of the body. They coordinate the various activities and they are responsible also for the growth of our body. So these endocrine glands, they do not have ducts. All the secretions of in the endocrine glands they are directly poured into the blood, and from the blood they are going directly into the whole circulatory system. So remember, these glands, they are endocrine glands or they are ductless glands. Some glands may have duct. For example, the salivary gland which is present in our mouth, it has got a salivary duct. With the help of that duct, that salivary gland is secreting the saliva in our mouth. So these are known as exocrine glands which have got duct, and the second are endocrine glands which are ductless. Here the secretion of the gland, it is directly going into the bloodstream and it is circulating in our whole body. Now there are different glands which are present in our body. The examples of endocrine glands, it may be the pancreas which is secreting insulin. It is balancing the blood sugar of our blood. So in the blood there is sugar, and that sugar level it is balanced with the help of this insulin. So those persons who are diabetic, they have excess sugar level. Why? Because insulin is not secreted properly. If insulin is not secreted properly, naturally their blood level will increase because that sugar is not digested. So what is insulin doing? It is digesting the carbohydrates and proteins and fats level of our body. Then there are in the testes there is secretion of testosterone in case of males. In females there are ovaries. These ovaries they are responsible for the secretion of estrogen and testosterone. So in this way this testosterone. Okay, so these are the secretions of the males and the females, especially for the male characters and the female characters in that particular human being. Now this human body, it has got different glands. For example, the pineal gland, the pituitary gland. This pituitary gland, it is responsible for growth. You must have seen that some children, they are very short, means they are dwarf, means for their age, their pituitary gland secretion is not sufficient for having that particular height. So this pituitary gland, its secretion is responsible for the growth of that person. Some are very tall, some are very short. So that height of a person, with growth of the body, it depends upon the secretion of the pituitary gland. In the brain itself, there is the hypothalamus. So these are the glands which are present situated in the brains, the midbrain, the forebrain, the hindbrain. So pineal gland, pituitary gland, and the hypothalamus. Then we come down In our neck we have got the thyroid gland. This thyroid gland, it secretes the thyroxine, but when it is secreting this thyroxine, it is secreting thyroxine with the help of iodine. So if there is iodine less, naturally secretion of thyroxine will also be less, and that will lead to a disease which is known as goiter. Means there will be a bulging in our neck. That bulging in our neck, that particular disease, it is known as goiter, and it is because of the insufficient secretion of thyroxine. It is due to the deficiency of iodine. So thyroid gland secretion is also important. Then there is parathyroid gland. Below that, thyroid gland. Then there is the thymus gland. Then pancreas, it is secreting the insulin. Then in case of females, there is the ovary, which is secreting the estrogen and the testosterone. And there are adrenal glands also. So these are the different glands which are present in our female body. In case of males, the difference will be they will have testes, and the testes will be secreting the testosterone. Okay, so these are the different hormones which are present in our body. And remember, what are hormones? They are only chemical substances. They are chemical messengers which are giving different messages for growth and the balance, coordination and control of the body. So remember, the control and coordination of the body, it is done by two parts. One is the central nervous system with the spinal cord, and second is the hormones.